Welcome to another episode of Talking About Records. My name is G.I. Sanders with NTX Vinyl, small chain of independent record stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're not local, you can shop online at ntxvinyl.com, and really appreciate it if you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for NTX Vinyl. Today's episode is High Rotation. So we've all got those albums that when you get it, whether it's used record, new record, doesn't matter, and it stays near the turntable for probably way longer than it should. I've got some of those where it takes me sometimes months before I'll shelve an album in my collection just because I'm so into it and I'm spinning it, maybe not on a daily basis, but certainly on a weekly basis. And I really struggle to put it up on the shelf because I know once it goes up on the shelf, at least with my collection, it's like it may be a while before I get back to it, just because then you got to kind of hunt through and be in the mood or discover it again, right? So these are albums that have been in high rotation for me on my turntable over the last probably about the last month or so. Some of them I've gotten really recently. Some of them, again, have been lingering a little bit and are probably getting close to going on the shelf. But all different genres, new, vintage, kind of runs the gamut. I listen to a lot of different stuff. So let's dive into it. The first record that is in high rotation for me, and I just got this one, so I've been spinning it a couple times just over the last couple days. This is an album called You and Me. The band is Open Hand. This came out originally in 2005, I want to say, and it has had a couple reissues. This is a 2021 reissue, and it's on a beautiful orange vinyl, which I'll show you. This is a band, if you like Queens of the Stone Age, Failure, Shiner, kind of that early 2000s, a little bit of stoner rock type of vibe, even, you know, some of like the Foo Fighters heavier stuff. Again, you'll love this record. It hits really hard. Great, you know, rock guitar driven songs. Kind of an obscure band. I think they're from the LA area, and they're active still to this day, which is cool. I need to check out some of their newer stuff, but this is an album I discovered way back when it came out. For whatever reason, I don't even remember how it came across, you know, at that time into my, you know, iPod or iPhone or whatever it was, how I listened to it, and then just recently picked it up on vinyl. So very excited about this one. I think you can still get there are variants available from the band that you can pick up. So check it out if you can. Again, this one's kind of on a special orange variant. I think they do a couple different colors on that. So again, Open Hand, You and Me, great rock album if you're into that style. Next on the list, totally different genre. This is Ryan Bingham Live, another album that I just recently picked up. This was recorded live in Texas in August of 2016 at the Whitewater Amphitheater in New Braunfels, Texas. I've never been there. It's one of those places where I'm always constantly checking the calendar because it's supposed to be an incredible place to see a show. I wished I could have seen someone like Ryan Bingham there. Maybe if he plays there again, I'll check it out. But this is a great live set. If you're not familiar with Ryan Bingham, very much kind of Americana, outlaw country, alternative country, just really true songwriter. And he's done tours with, you know, Willie Nelson and, you know, been on the Outlaw festivals with Sturgill Simpson and that type of vibe. So if you're into that type of country, which I am, this is a fantastic record if you can pick it up. All his studio albums are great too, but this live one's really good. It's got a mix of stuff from several of his earlier records, but I'm a big fan of Ryan Bingham. He's just got a voice that really speaks to me. I think it's really authentic and pure, and this is a great record recorded in Texas, so I had to pick it up. It's been on my want list for a long time, so that's definitely in high rotation. That one will probably stay on the shelf for a while. All right, this one, brand new release from Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. This is his latest album called Brighton. He has not put out a solo record in quite a few years. This one I've listened to a handful of times. I'm really starting to get into it. I actually really like the B side of it, a little more side 2 than the A side. But man, the artwork on this thing is credible. There's all kind of embossing on it. There's a bunch of different versions of this one. There's a glow in the dark indie exclusive version. This is one I got, I think, from Revolver, and it's on an opaque orange vinyl, which is really nice. They even altered the artwork, the colors of the artwork on a lot of different variants. which is really cool. I appreciate that. If the label's going to go through, or an artist is going to go through the trouble to create different variants of a record, I appreciate it when they do not only the LP itself, but actually the jacket. But you know, Jerry Cantrell, I can't say enough about the talent there from a songwriting perspective. I'm glad he's still producing music this many years later, not only with Alice in Chains, but also from a solo standpoint. Again, he put out Boggy Depot way back in the day, and Degradation Trip as well. So I think this is his third proper solo record, but he hasn't had one in a long time. So I will definitely keep this one in high rotation. Huge Jerry Cantrell fan. Pretty much everything he does, I think, is great. And I think this one will definitely grow on me. It's going to get there as well. Already liking it. So changing gears completely. How about the self-titled record by Mavis Staples? This is a fantastic record. I think this came out in '69, I believe. It is on the Volt label, which is really cool, iconic disc label, which I love. This is just, man, pure soul. Like when I hear this record, I've heard a few of the tracks on this album kind of in passing over the years, just because Mavis Staples is a brand name, if you will, when it comes to R&B and soul. But I'd never owned the record until I came across this in a recent collection that had a bunch of R&B and jazz. Some more that's in here actually, but this one has stuck in high rotation just because, man, it's a beautiful album. So much soul. The voice really shines through. Highly recommend checking this out, even if you can't find it on vinyl. Just, you know, go listen to this album whichever way you can. This is her self-titled record, and it came out in 1969. So really enjoying this one right now. And it's a little outside the box for me. I don't think I even own any Mavis Staples records until this recent collection I got. I got this one and I think one other. So really enjoying her and looking forward to kind of exploring more of her catalog. I've kind of heard it in bits and pieces over the years. But I'm looking forward to diving in a lot deeper. So that's Mavis Staples. Changing gears yet again, PJ Harvey, Drive. This is from 1992. Kind of similar in that I've always known PJ Harvey. I'm familiar with some of the key tracks throughout the discography, but I've never owned any of it on vinyl for whatever reason. There are just so many artists from that period of the early 90s as it relates to kind of alternative indie rock, which is this pretty much leans in that direction. And so it just never really spoke to me at the time, and mainly just because, again, there was so much to listen to out of that time period, and still is. But I'm glad I stumbled across this record. This is an original press that I came across. And man, really enjoying it. This is a spectacular album. It has, over the past, I would say 2 months, sent me down the path of exploring more of PJ Harvey's stuff. I've been watching a lot of her stuff live, which is just fascinating. She's an incredible live performer, great guitar player, really creative songwriter, and I think the vibe that she puts out is really unique, kind of almost a Bowie-inspired vibe in some way, at least on some of the stuff I've been checking out. This album's fantastic, some great guitar work, kind of a stripped-down vibe. I think it's a three-piece band just at this point. I'm sure she adds more musicians live, at least I've seen. But for this recording, again, just a really stripped down, raw approach, which I really appreciate, especially for thinking back to when this came out, when there was a lot of layering of guitars, and which I appreciate too. But I like the fact that this one's kind of stripped back, and it's really made an impression on me. So again, one of those other artists that's in high rotation that's going to inspire me to check out a lot more. So check out PJ Harvey Drive if you're not familiar. I know there's a lot of big fans of this record and of her, and so I'm glad to finally get up to speed, at least start the process of getting up to speed with PJ Harvey. Next on the list, this is Ponchier. This is kind of a unique record, the legendary Cliff Ponchier demos. This is a Record Store Day release. It came on a couple different colors of jackets. There's a pink one, I think a yellow one, and this green one. What this is it is Chris Cornell's solo. It features 4 tracks, Flutter Girl, which is a track that ended up on Chris Cornell's first solo album, Euphoria Morning. And then you've got Seasons, which was obviously, or maybe not so obviously, on the Singles soundtrack from 1992. Nowhere But You's unreleased, and then Spoon Man, which is the original demo to the Soundgarden track on Super Unknown. So the reason why this isn't called Chris Cornell is because Cliff Ponchier is the fictitious character from the movie Singles. And as the story goes, there was a prop in the film that I think Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam, because he was responsible for a lot of the look and the feel and the props for that movie, as far as establishing kind of the vibe and aesthetic of what a Seattle musician at that time would look like and how he would act and what he would listen to. So anyways, there was a fictitious cassette that he had wrote these names on. Him or Cornell, one of the others, wrote those fake names of those songs I just named on that cassette. Chris actually took the cassette and then wrote songs to those titles. So the song Spoon Man, which is on Super Unknown, it actually started out as just a song title first, and then Chris wrote the song around that song title, which is, from someone who's had has written some songs in my day, maybe poorly, but I can tell you that's not easy to take a song name and then write the lyrics and base the song around the fact that you have a name first. It doesn't usually work that way. It can, of course, but thought that was really unique. I love these demos. I'm a huge fan, not only of Chris Cornell and Soundgarden, but of the movie Singles, and this holds a lot of nostalgia in regards to that. So only 4 or 5 tracks, but I had to add this to collection. It's been on the want list for a long time. Let's go back to, I believe this is early 70s, maybe 69, 70. The first record from Funkadelic. Man, I've got a lot of Funkadelic records in my collection, but I've never come across this self-titled record. Way bluesier, honestly. Kind of, I mean, obviously it's Funkadelic, so it's funk and soul, but man, there's some blues and a lot more guitar than I expected. Just a classic album. Pretty tough one to find. Again, part of the reason why I never owned this one is just because Funkadelic is one of those bands for me where I at least make an attempt to try and find the older, earlier pressings, just because I really appreciate those for certain artists and for certain eras of music. And Funkadelic is one of those. So I have a whole catalog of a lot of the early stuff, but I just never run across this one. Love the cover, love the vibe, and again, just a great listen through and through. I can't, this isn't the type of album, and I think about some of these others like the Mavis Staples and a couple of these others I'm about to name, where you don't put these on and like listen to a song or two. I mean, this is an album through and through, and that's what I love about the early Funkadelic stuff. It creates a vibe from the moment you drop the needle to the minute you take it off. It really engages you, and I think this album, does a great job of that. It's really spoken to me, and so this one will probably stay in rotation for a while. I love it. Gets a lot of play on weekends around here. All right, the next I'm going to do 2 at once, and the reason why it's because it's from the same artist. This is Jimmy McGriff, Electric Funk, and then I'm going to show the second one, which is Groove Grease, but I'll only show it for just a minute, otherwise I'll get flagged by YouTube, I would suspect. These 2 albums, man, I have known the name Jimmy McGriff. These came out in, I think, 70, 71, right in that early 70s period again. I've known the name Jimmy McGriff, but I'm not a huge jazz buff. I'm honestly just starting to get into jazz over the last couple years, and I'm at the tip of the iceberg on jazz, where I'm listening to just those top names, and these are ones that I came across in a recent collection, and really stood out to me, first of all because the covers are beautiful, the artwork is great, but man, the albums are so good. This one, this is on the iconic Blue Note label. This is a 97 UK reissue, and then Groove Grease is also a reissue. I don't think it's on Blue Note though. It's on Groove Merchant. Either way, both phenomenal guitar based jazz, jazz/funk. Again, electric funk. It's hard to kind of pigeonhole these into a genre, in my opinion, which is what I like about them. I like the fact that it's kind of hard to describe exactly what they are, at least to my ear, not being an aficionado in either funk or jazz. Like, again, cream of the crop. Like, I know the top level artists across some of those genres, but I don't go super deep yet. So really been enjoying these, definitely in high rotation. I would not have pegged myself to get into a lot of kind of instrumental jazz funk type stuff, but man, I'm really enjoying it, and I suspect that I'm probably gonna go a lot deeper on Jimmy McGriff, because these are great records. So appreciating those. Another artist that I've gotten into a lot of, I've listened to the Meters a lot over the years. I am familiar with the trajectory of their discography a little bit, but I never had this one. This is Struttin', and famously features the chicken strut, which is just a hilarious song. You've never heard it. My kids freaking love it. I love it. This is their first album that they added vocals on, because they were an instrumental band for the first couple records. Based out of New Orleans, about as funky as it gets. Just an incredible group of musicians. I love everything I've ever heard from the Meters. Just so fun, so much groove, and so much funk. And again, on this one, even an element of humor with the chicken strut, which is just phenomenal. But the whole record's great, honestly. Like with anything by the Meters, or like the Jimmy McGriff stuff, or and you just put it on and plays front to back, like I was saying about Funkadelic. Like just a great album through and through. So check out Struttin' if you're not familiar and you want to get into the Meters. This is a pretty fun one to start with. So definitely in high rotation. Last but not least, switching gears again, back to a newer release. Bright Side by the Lumineers. This came out roughly late January, I want to say, mid-January of 2022 this year. This is their latest record. I think it's their 4th full-length album. Really enjoying it. It's a short record. It's like not even 40 minutes long, 35 minutes long or something. I think it's 8 or 9 tracks. I really liked the single, Bright Side, when it came out, and was hoping the rest of the album would kind of continue down that path, and it does. They're not breaking any ground here, in my opinion. If you're familiar with Lumineers, they stick to what they know. They stick to what they do best. It's stripped down. It's all based around the song and around the vocal. And it's just, in my opinion, good songs. It's good songwriting. I'm glad to hear bands like this still being so active and seeing success in 2022. It's great to see new artists still putting out new music. So I'm enjoying this new Lumineers record. I honestly didn't have a lot of high expectations going into it. I haven't listened to the band a lot in recent years. I really liked their first record. They've kind of lost me a little bit over the years, but this one's really bringing me back, and now I'm kind of listening back to the back catalog a little more. So definitely check it out if you've been a fan of their stuff over the years. I'd recommend it. I think there's some great songs on this record, and you can tell, I think you can tell that they spent some time during the last couple of years not being able to tour, writing a record like this, and I think the quality is there. There's several different versions of this one, different covers, different colored vinyls. I'm sorry, different colored vinyl, not vinyls. And so you can check it out and grab. There's several indie exclusives and things like that, but great album. So it's been in high rotation for me, and it'll probably stick around for a little while. So that's my list in high rotation. I will try and do these, maybe once a month or so. I don't switch things out all that often, so I couldn't do a high rotation every week, I don't think, just because I typically keep things close to my turntable for a little longer than that until I shelve them, right? So that's my list. Let me know what you're listening to. If there's anything you recommend based off some of these, like if you saw one of these and you're like, man, GI, if you like this one, you should listen to that one. That's the type of stuff that I really dig, and I think that a lot of people get out of social media in regards to being able to engage and interact with other people who have similar tastes or different tastes. So I'd love to hear your opinions on some of these, or if there's anything else you could recommend based off some of these. So thanks for watching. As always, ton of content on my channel, so please check out some more videos. I'll pop a few up right here. And as always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time on Talking About Records.